In an alternate version of the 1976, the gas crisis wages on. Police, much like the current reality, are useless. The only thing keeping criminals in check are vigilantes. Their weapon of choice? 1970s muscle cars. And funk. Gotta have that funk.
Stampede, this is Vixen. Code 6 path. Repeat, code 6 path.
Released by Activision in the spring of 1997, Interstate 76 is a vehicular combat game set in the American Southwest. Despite garnering great reviews, an expansion pack,
I don't have time for
a
this.
terrible sequel, and even rights to a movie, this game seems criminally underrepresented in the retro gaming world. Having been a huge fan of the Wing Commander universe of games, which featured arcade space combat, with just enough simulation to remain fun and add some strategy by that kick-ass story, I was immediately hooked to Interstate 76. In fact, I always called it Wing Commander in a car. Despite the terribly rabid Wing Commander fan base on the internet, not even they seem to appreciate this gem of a game. The character we've just seen die, Jade, we'll be seeing her again besides in a tutorial level, is the sister of the main character, Grove, who we play, and seeing her death and hearing about what she did has caused him to want to pursue what she did. There he is right there. And the intro is presented much in the style of an old, 70s television show. And even the clips that you see played later on will be they'll preface it with somewhere in the Southwest, like it was a television episode. This is our first exposure to the true kick-ass soundtrack of the game, which was created by a real assembled band, to emulate 70s style music, but they're real instruments. This is not no synthesized crap. The only complaint I have about it is that it's all in mono, not in stereo, which does diminish the quality. The two main gameplay modes are the Trip, which is the campaign storyline element of the game, and the Melee, which is scenario-based or multiplayer. In the scenario category, we have about 7 or 8 individual episodes of the game which are not connected via storyline, but just have elements of story in them that you can play with any car you want, various weapons, and that's a fun thing to do, to have a little bit more to the game. The main crux of the game is the campaign mode here, a Trip. Outside a gas station, we meet our two heroes, Gru Champion, our main character. This is us. A very funky guy with the fro, Taurus, who is trying to convince us that we should join his cause.
I've never killed anyone, Taurus.
You will be, my friend.
This place is a stinking mess. Who the hell you think's gonna clean up around here if we don't? Pigs
us.
don't do shit. Probably in on it.
Pigs.
We're the only ones left to hold back a world of shit.
Very vulgar language in this game.
Better on the highway.
Yeah, which pretty much says, we've decided we're gonna do this.
That's Skeeter. He fixes the cars. Write down what you want done.
Skeeter is the mechanic, little special guy, but
kind
of cool.
And don't get him too
He's the
excited.
comic relief element of the game, and these are our 3 main good guys.
Playboy. Shut up.
Now we're gonna find out what kind of driver you really
We
are.
finally get into some
When
gameplay
I say go,
elements.
we're gonna race forward to the highway. And you better do real good.
First few levels are
Sounds great,
more like
Taurus.
tutorial based rather than anything challenging. Here we are racing Taurus. Give him a nice little oil slick here.
Watch that shit,
Look at the
cowboy.
physics of this game.
Listen carefully.
Look at how
Get
the car
jump straight.
handles.
Real straight. You dig?
Has some realistic elements, but not completely. Obviously, this would have killed you. But slipping and sliding.
look kind of cute back there in my rear view
If your
mirror.
tire gets blown out, that car handles terribly. A very realistic, much like MechWarrior 2 was, the engine that it was based off of.
Damn,
Mechanized combat, and here we have Vehicular combat.
I didn't expect you could beat that beat so soon.
Really really shines. Even Grand Theft Auto does not have anything like this today. Speaking of Grand Theft Auto, a review for the first couple games in that series is what prompted me to make this video. And no, the reviewer said how revolutionary the first two were, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, the first two Grand Theft Autos were terrible. Terrible games then and today. I mean, and they're just, from the console perspective, maybe they were something. But from the computer perspective, we had this. This came out before the first two Grand Theft Autos. It has an engine similar to Grand Theft Auto 3, which came out much later in 2001. This, you know, it seemed to me at the time that Grand Theft Auto stole a little bit from this game, from personal experience. So I didn't think it was that revolutionary. I think I love Grand Theft Auto 3, but I was like, not that revolutionary, not really. It's primarily us against the world in this game. Taurus is useless, and in fact this is the only mission where he's in the game actually fighting with us. Every other time, it's just us against everything, unfortunately. But he's about as useful as a wing commander, wingman, so you're not missing much. There was the gun. If you're good at the gun, you get up right to the window of a car, get a couple shots, and you can kill the driver instantly without any damage to the car. I don't actually show that off in this because I wasn't thinking about it, but you know, some people, I think, do that specifically only. And if you get the knack of it, it's a very good strategy, but kind of hit or miss for me.
Creepers on the radar, Stampede.
Many different camera views in the game. Primarily you're going to be either using the first-person view, either cockpit or without a cockpit, or third-person view. I usually prefer the third-person view. Here it is in the first-person though. Where you can see damage areas of your car, the gun you have selected, and the gear. Software mode is 256 colors with varying resolutions from VGA 320 by 200 all the way to 1024 by 768. Not many games did that back then. Here, because of technical reasons with the camera, digital camera, and the scan lines and stuff, and you know, I chose to do it in 640 by 480. But I normally do it in 800 by 600, and it looks fantastic the more you upgrade the resolution because it redraws everything with it, unlike most games which just made everything look smaller. Upon completion of a mission, we are taken here to this field salvage farm where we can pick up parts from the destroyed cars that we took care of earlier, and you know, if you used a gun, you know, you might not have to deal with any of the repairs because, you know, we have damage from green to red. This is the strategic element to the game. Picking out better items, getting increased things. It's a little bit, tiny bit of role playing to it too, with the, you know, extra 14, 15-inch, you know, tires and things. Nitrous oxide you get. Better discs, better brakes, better suspension, better engines. This is, you know, the strategic part, which is even more in-depth than, say, Mech Warrior was. Because you never had to deal with damaged mechs in Mech Warrior, other than in the combat itself, but afterwards you didn't have to deal with anything. So here we have to select which ones we want to repair, and if he has too much, he'll say he can't take any more. This is the strategic element to it, and this is a fun, you know, aspect. It's not super realistic, but this adds a hell of a lot to the gameplay, just enough. You know, that special something that is lacking in a lot of games. Story-wise, we got a good one. We've just found a shit ton of money in that restaurant we destroyed earlier.
Something real technical. Skeeter.
And, it's quite a little backstory we got dealing with all this.
Oh yeah? How do you know?
Cause a suitcase ain't a bank, bro. If some fool's gonna put $700,000 in a damn bag, they intend to move it.
Our main character, a doofus that doesn't know what the hell's going on, like many main characters. And the bad guy watches on. A terrible wingman who has been of use to us, well, if you can call it use, in approximately one mission, is about to get himself seriously hurt and not be available for the rest of the game. So, Taurus, one mission we've had use of him. If you actually want to have any, if you want to play with him, you're gonna have to do the scenarios. Because he is not in the trip at all. It's just you. but the shit is getting real in the story at this point. Showing off the Direct3d mode to the game. Direct3d features thousands of colors versus 256.
Highway 87.
However, it is only in 640 by 480. It cannot be upgraded to higher resolutions. And Direct3d at this time, especially when it was, latched on to already established games, didn't really add much other than some lighting effects here and there, and the ground kind of looks nicer, but if you're right up in front of it, it's blurry as hell. And being an amateur photographer, I prefer sharpness to blurriness. So, because of the higher resolution and software mode, I would recommend software mode over Direct3d. And in certain situations like this, at night, this is Direct3d at night, all you can see is what is directly in front of the headlights, making it utterly useless. Here it is in software mode. First person is nothing special either, but in third person, we can actually see what is around us. We have some peripheral vision here. This is how it should be. There are many different types of stages in Interstate 76, ranging from go here and kill that, to run like hell, like in this mission here, to sneaking around, or escorting, just very similar to like a Wing Commander flight simulator kind of thing, And here I take a Thelma and Louise off the cliff. Yeah. What you're actually supposed to do is garner enough speed down this road here and jump one hell of a long bridge.
Of course. Construction. You okay back there?
No.
Don't you trust me?
Just the other side of the bridge.
That could be a problem.
It's all good. I even overcompensated for you. You were never in any danger.
Go, Cat. This is Balrog.
Yes, helicopters, will be dealing with them a lot later on. You have to have a whole new strategy to deal with them.
Repeat, the van is gone. I'm heading back to the
They
range.
constantly launch missiles at you. Night combat. The night combat's pretty cool. I love any kind of a change in scenery in any kind of a game. I don't care if it's a water level, if it's a snow level, rain, I don't care. I like changes in games, and that's a criticism I have of this game, is that it's completely set in the desert. There's just not enough eye candy in this game.
Bomb.
And
See,
the
there's
MechWarrior 2
part.
engine was
I think
capable of
it's
that, because it did it in MechWarrior
plutonium
2.
239, and it's what they call
And
fusion.
our resident physicist here is teaching us about nuclear bombs.
They plan to buy an H-bomb.
Well, hello, Groove. How are you,
Yes, a
Groove?
little appreciation, a little thank you goes a long way, Taurus. But here, on this level, this bridge up ahead is going to blow. And I used to die all the time. You're supposed to go below and go through all those dirt roads in order to, go around the mountain. But I could never, I always died because I didn't know how to deal with the helicopter. So I found a way to glitch the game as a kid by using nitrous oxide and just plowing myself into the mountain to the point where it glitched above it. And that's how I would win this level as a kid, because it's hard with that helicopter. But you would come to the van, and nothing would happen because it's expecting you to hit like a checkpoint before the story continues on. So what I would do is I would turn around, I would go down the dirt road to the point where the checkpoint is, and then turn around again and come back to the van. And I was able to survive that way. But this is how you're supposed to do it, is go down these dirt roads, and you're supposed to turn off your engine. On and off, on and off. When the engine is off, the helicopter doesn't have anything to lock on to, because there's no heat signature, I guess. And so you turn it on, you go a little bit, you turn it off. That's how you deal with the helicopters and anything that has locking missiles in this game. But I didn't know that as a kid, and I just would die constantly trying to do it the legitimate way. So just remember, you gotta turn off the engine. It's another little added bit of realism and strategy that makes this game very nice. I wish turning off cars was in Grand Theft Auto too, and you could just sit there and nobody would notice you. Unfortunately, that is not the case. But yeah, this is the thing. You go across this.
Stampede, this is
That's the checkpoint, and now I can get there
Roger,
on
Sweetie.
time.
See you at the
and
rendezvous.
everything will be
Waiting on
fine.
380. What took you so long?
And,
Unidentified driver.
this is a sneaky mission, one of the sneaky missions. You listen to this guy, go up to the gate, and he gives them a code. So we use that same code to get into the base.
The unicorn offers tranquility.
This is a very atmospheric mission. I like
I
that.
found the place. And guess what? The copter is here.
Snag egg.
Roger that, Swinger. Take out the helicopter.
Of course, it's in a tanker.
It seems they're headed for a shithole of a town called Fort Davis in the West Texas Valley.
Yeah, a town, a shithole of a town. Yeah, well, here we go.
Fort Davis. Fort Davis. Gotta get to
Now
Fort
we'll see how
Davis.
shitty a town that is right about now. Oh!
Sweeney, this is Stampede. Come back. Fort Davis is not a town. It's an old fort.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
I simply plan to blow up a large percentage of the U.S. oil reserves.
The evil villain in our dreams telling us all of his plans.
Market goes south.
I love when the villain tells, you know, the whole plan. It's in the dream even. That's even
Because
better
my
than doing it
employer
in
paid me to
person.
do it. Who's my employer? OPEC.
No.
Are you surprised?
Dun dun dun. As we near the finale, I'm just going to tell you all. Spoiler alert coming up.
Good.
I do not care about spoilers. The more I know about a game, the more I like a game. But this game is almost 20 years old.
Such loyalty.
Listen, if you
Oddly, I
haven't
find myself moved.
checked it out by
But in a
now,
handful of hours,
yeah,
their loyalty along
showing you
with
more
most
of it
their
ain't gonna
physical
hurt.
being will be
You know,
but vapor.
play the damn game. Don't you whine about spoilers.
Why?
Money.
A duel.
You couldn't possibly, in your condition, don't even have a car.
I'll take you on.
Give me a bicycle.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to think that. What if Jade was in her car?
She would have died anyway. Car or no car.
Prove it.
Here we have the final mission of the game where we get to select 3, or so it's thought, between a tanker. The actual best one is the little postal vehicle in the middle, but unbeknownst to me at the time, until very recently, is you can actually select a tiny little helicopter in the background too. Which makes sense because in MechWarrior 2 you could have mechs that could fly for a little bit. So, and that's about the highest they could go too. So. It's pretty fun to fly. You know, it's a fun, if not easy mission. My only complaint about the entire game is that it just ends too quickly. It's only about 14 regular campaign missions, and it's just not enough. And there's not another campaign where you can lose some missions and get back on track. And there's no dynamic anything to it. You have to win every single mission. It's still an engaging story for what's there.
You want money? I'll give you money.
Don't want money.
God's sake, please! Please help me out of this car!
This is a very satisfying ending.
Never get out of the car.
Hell yeah. Interstate 76.
Wow. Flying saucer.
everybody. Hope you all enjoyed my review on Interstate 76. This is the Arsenal pack, which has the Gold Edition and the Nitro Pack expansion in there. I have the original somewhere too. I think it's in a box. Anyway, since I didn't show my face during the video, I might as well do it for this little end slate thing. And in case any of you, it's the first time I did any kind of a script in one of my videos. I don't normally like the scripts. I don't like the way people sound in the YouTube community when they're doing. They sound like a newscaster. It's so monotone, so terribly scripted. They're not actors. But for the intro, I thought, you know, it might be something. So in case any of you don't want to know, for the first minute or so, it was all scripted. But then after that, it just says, talk about the intro. They talk about the TV style intro, and then for everything else, like, comment on what you see. And then for this part, it says, you know, talk about various things that I had forgotten to mention or something. But Interstate 76 was a cool game for me back in the day, and I really got the feeling that it was like Wing Commander in a car, and it was very linked. The two games were very linked to me. I would play Wing Commander, and I would go through every one. Wing Commander was my favorite, you know, series, quick series anyway. Might and Magic's probably up there too, but it takes forever to play Might and Magic. Wing Commander you could get through in a few days, and I would play, you know, every Wing Commander, and then I'd play Interstate 76, and you know, for a while there, I'd do that in a cycle. I'd play them both like 3 or 4 times a year, and those were probably my favorite games at the time. Very similar games, except in a different setting. Specifically, I think Interstate 76 is very close to Wing Commander 1 in terms of gameplay elements. There's like the damage system. Wing Commander 1 had the best damage system of the entire series. It never got any better than that. The game also features force feedback on some joysticks. This one's not a force feedback joystick, but I did have it on a force feedback joystick for a long time, and I only had like 2 games that worked with that thing, and the thing's bulky. It's very bulky and it's heavy, and not enough games supported it, I found, and whatever. But it does. For when you get like a flat tire, the thing starts going crazy. Yeah, it's a cool game to have force feedback on if you have that. It's also interesting to note that Interstate 76 has a very good installation part of the story. While you're installing Interstate 76, it will go through a little spiel, and it'll have a little bit of the story kicking off with some of the music. You can take out the WAV file too if you want to, and it'll play it.
In domestic news, our Washington correspondent Kurt Marshall. Glenn, it seems this year.
It goes through like a news report of the story, just tells you the basic things that have been going on in that particular time period of 1976 in an alternate universe. Because it really is one of my favorite games, you know, of all time, probably. And you don't see it on YouTube. I don't see any reviews for it on YouTube, and there's only a few gameplay videos of it. And I don't know. I always thought it was a big. I thought it was a big thing because the game had an expansion pack. It had a gold edition, and it had a sequel. The sequel is god-awful. Well, not... I have a soft spot for it because I like the first one so much. But in terms of the first one, it is god-awful. It had great reviews. It had so many additions, so many different things for it. I figured it sold well, but apparently it didn't sell that well. And I think that's why they tried to dumb it down for the second one. Not too many people know about it, so I guess it's a hidden gem of sorts. So yeah, definitely. You gotta check this one out. It's a good game. Anyway, for my 2 little video, I think I'll just stick with 2 today. I can't think of it. I can't think of it off the top of my head. I got the. Let's see, I'll put up here. I'll put my last video, which was Genesis controllers and modding it to work with the Master System. Down here, how about we put? Shall we put Carling the Spider? Nobody seems to have watched my Carling the Spider video. Come on, guys, it's an awesome video. Carling the Spider on the VIC-20. People, more respect for the VIC-20. It's an awesome little machine. Check that video out, please. Yeah, that's all. That's all I can think of at the moment, so I'll just do those two. And I will see you guys shortly, hopefully. See you guys. Then Wing Commander 1. How dare you try to save power on me? It's the wrong mouse.